So we now everybody's saying don't go to sleep on Iowa. Alex and I have been saying urging people not to go to sleep on Iowa for a couple months now, but you can't go to sleep on Mississippi, and helping in these races, the kind of races that Alex and I, look, when people called and said, hey, when will you come down and help us talk Doug Jones into running in 2017 in Alabama? Most people would have said what a lot of people in Washington were saying is hell no. No one's won anything in Alabama in 25 years, not going to waste our time. We dove in, and we've been there with you in Mississippi, and I think people need if you want to help, there are some races in Alabama, Mississippi, Florida that really are going to matter, and I think all of them are winnable if we get them the resources and the help they need.
After Joe's great ask there, I do want to just point something out that I think might be buried. This is not some pie in the sky if everything happens and 200,000 magical new Democrats move to the state and all decide to vote and all bring their friends and all of a sudden. No, this poll had a plus 13 generic. And what that means is 47% of people normally vote Republican and only 34% in this sample vote for Democrats. So you turn that around, and right now, Cindy Hyde Smith is 20 points underwater. That is the clearest indication of throw the bums out you can see. If you've got 47% of Republicans, people who usually vote Republican, and she's only pulling 33% right now before we even get into any attacks, any positives on the Democrat Scott Cologne, which we'll get to in a minute. She's already down 13%. And remember that Trump approval rating I talked about. I think he's at 52. I think you have him at like plus 13, plus 12 or plus 13. So she's like 35 points below Trump. And by the way, that plus 12, I'm kind of thinking it might be a little generous. I realize The Economist has him 8 points underwater, but it's not going to be more than 12. Might be less, it might be 12. But even in these conditions that I would say are a fairly conservative look at this electorate in the midst of a change wave, after persuasion, which by the way, the cool thing is we're actually going to have the resources to do it, thanks to groups like New Southern Majority, etc. She's losing by 10. It's 44-34, and it's never really that close. So you add all this up, and this is my point about it really is everywhere. You look at places like Texas where this is happening. You look at Alaska, you look at Iowa, you look at Ohio. If Mississippi is in play, folks, and it is, and we need to all perk up, a lot of those other places are not just in play, but we should feel real good about where we are in the Senate.
Yeah, and they don't really have anywhere to go, do they? I mean, as you described the situation here, if you're an incumbent Republican senator, where do you go? What do you play to? There's not really a way to to fix any of this. And I don't know about you guys. I mean, I know we live in a changing world, and we see this stuff pretty chaotic on a daily basis, but it's hard to imagine a lot of these indicators right sizing before people go to the poll.
No, it's not. I don't think you're going to see. Look, whether it's Iran gas prices going up, none of these things are going to change dramatically between now and November. Even if they go well, and a lot of these things you got to hope they do go well, but
Sure.
that's not the point politically. People are going to be experiencing the hardship caused by this, erratic and chaotic mess. And again, from people who promised that they lower prices on day one, none of that's going to change. And not only that, I think you're right, Brandon, because part of the problem they now have within the Republican Party is there's sort of two schisms. I mean, there's multiple schisms, but one is you told us you weren't going to get us into any of these forever wars, which is why a lot of MAGA supported him. At the same time, there's a huge group within the party who thinks ICE hasn't been brutal enough, or that we should be, that you shouldn't stop the bombing in Iran. We should end their civilization. I mean, there's this schism of people who want to go even further and people who just want it all to stop in his own, if you're the senator and you basically agree with continuing with some of the overblown stuff. You may get MAGA, but look at the independents and everybody else you've pushed away. And if you embrace him and the harsher things that he's doing right now and that you've enabled, you may get MAGA, but it's just there's not enough votes there. This is even a place like Mississippi and Alabama and in Florida where you're seeing competitive, in Texas too. Look, this all reminds me of 1980 in the opposite. Back then, Carter was president. We had double-digit interest rates, inflation, the misery index, gas lines. The Iran hostage situation was raging, and going into the election with Reagan, and this was a presidential year, so that's one big difference. But it was Ray. You had going into that election, there were two or three Democrats who had polling that said in the Senate that said they were in trouble. That night, eight or nine got shown the door, six of whom no one saw coming. I mean, back then we didn't have the kind of polling, everywhere that we're seeing today. So maybe we're starting to see a glimpse of that. But that night, no one thought, I mean, I still believe in November of this year, there will be Republicans losing their Senate seats who we are not talking, even as we talk about Mississippi and some of these other places, several of them that we're not talking, there's going to be places that we're just going to be surprised by how bad a night November is going to be if we get people the resources and the ability to organize and fight everywhere. It is really tough to see how they pull back from what's coming.
Yeah, I believe that wholeheartedly. I just think the gravitational pull of all of these factors is going to create some really interesting outcomes.